Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trusty Huckster's Vintage Live Sale. Thanks so much for joining me. Decided to sign on a couple minutes early because I'm actually ready to go, shockingly enough, and want to figure out who's all here. Huckster Helper is not with me today, but she's in the chat, so she will be able to chat it up with everyone, and she will continue keeping track of the winners just like she always does. But it just meant that I've kind of Jenga'd myself into this little position because I have to have everything within reach, and it's a tight squeeze. So we've got we'll see how it goes. So we've got a regular sale tonight. We're going to still going to be doing theme sales off and on, maybe every other week. Still going to be doing my group sales once a month. So last time was the vintage. What did I do last time? Did I do? No, I didn't do Vintage Kitchen yet. Oh, the jewelry sale. So I had the jewelry sale, and that was very successful, and it was actually very pleasant and easy to. It was very easy to ship. So from that regard, that was pretty nice. So checking in at this point, I'm running this through StreamYard, and I am having problems seeing anything in the chat. So hold on, let me figure out where I'm at here. All right, we're going to see. We've got the Truckster, the Huckster Helper is the Huckster Helper is in the chat. I am not seeing the chat, so she is going to have to be my guide for a little while until I can see what's in the chat. Let me pull it up on my phone, so in case I'm missing anything. So I want to do some hellos before we get started into the sale. There's been a lot of discussion about what happens in the chat and what we can do. Oh, there it is. I didn't even do anything. It just showed up. But anyway, what we can do in the chat and how we can run the sale. And it's this weird balancing act because I'm so appreciative of everyone that comes to the live sales. I truly am. And I definitely want to recognize everyone that comes, but then I also want to make sure that the sale goes at a pretty decent clip and that I can get everything, I can get through the things I want to get done. And, if it's something you don't like, you want to be able to move on to the next thing. And sometimes the chat's just having a good old time. So you can do that at any point. So trying to find a happy medium between being obsessed with watching the chat and being focused on giving you a good and efficient sale. But since we started a little bit early, I can now see we've got, so Fab Finds Fairy, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again tonight. Casey, oh, okay, wait, I know this one. Carrie from Austin, so great. Thanks for coming back, Carrie. Blue Flamingo, I've seen you on other chats. I'm not sure I don't think you've ordered from me before, so I'm not sure what your real name is, but hello, Blue Flamingo. Welcome, Grace. Welcome back, Randy Heilman. So appreciate all you coming in. Again, if you just signed on, we are doing a regular sale tonight. I got about, I think I've lost count, somewhere around 50, 55 items. We'll see how long it takes us to get through. Not doing a theme tonight. I'm probably going to alternate regular sales versus theme sales versus group sales. I kind of like the theme sales because it's kind of fun to build a collection to sell. So when I'm thrifting, it can give me a focus on what to pick up. So coming up in August, probably the next one that I will do is going, the sale a week from tonight is going to be the vintage kitchen sale. So really actually looking forward to that one because it's something that I don't really do a lot of. And I just think it could be a lot of fun. So I've definitely had a lot of fun trying to find items for it because it kind of got me out a little bit out of my comfort zone. It's one of those cases that I know what people are buying through other sales, and it's just I don't always sell something like that. So this kind of gave me an excuse to actually be able to pick stuff like this up and then kind of see what sells, see what doesn't sell, see what you guys like, and we're all a little bit different. I'm still going to always be heavy in porcelain and glass and pottery because that's the kind of stuff that I like. But I want to mix things up a little bit. So the vintage kitchen sale will be next. And a couple of the items that came from George of the Antique Nomad a couple items came from the meetup that we went down to visit him and his estate sale. So there'll be some fun kitchen stuff that goes into that one. So welcome, Laura Bimos. And if you did not catch Laura, I do more than live sales on this channel. So if you didn't catch my deep dive, that was just this past Sunday. I had a Trusty's Vintage Deep Dive with Laura Bimos, where we explored the history of dominoes. And if you think there's not that much to learn in dominoes, you are quite mistaken. It's one of the longest deep dives I've ever done. I try and cap it at an hour, but we had a lot of different things that we kind of went down some rabbit holes, because it's just super interesting that you think something that's kind of everyday common, there's quite a bit of history behind it, and Laura really knows her stuff. So she did a little show and tell with her collection, gave us some good history, and it was a lot of fun. So welcome, Laura. Welcome, Michelle from Comfy Cozy Living. I'm assuming if you're here, that means your sale ended. Michelle, if you're not familiar with Michelle at Comfy Cozy Living, definitely follow her channel. She does her sales actually the same day as mine. She does them during the day. And what she's now done last week and again this week is she's gone into a marathon style sale. I think last week ended up at, what was it, 5.5 hours, 6 hours? I don't think it was 6. I think it came like just under 6. And I want to say this time you were at least like 4.5, if not 5, because it's at one point I saw that you were still on. So your throat must be better than mine. You must say keep yourself pretty well hydrated. So welcome, Michelle. Hope you had a good sale. Hope you had fun. And again, if you're not following Michelle's she's another one. She's got a slightly different aesthetic than I've got. She carries things a little bit differently than what I do. There are tons of sales all over the place. And I'll try to remember, I don't know if they're on here tonight, but Vintage Collectibles is doing their very first live sale tomorrow. So they did an Instagram sale about 3 to 4 weeks ago. And they struggled a little bit with the smaller screen format. There's 2 of them. And in Instagram, you have to be vertical. So it was like they're kind of crowding onto the screen. So I attended that sale and I actually picked up some great things. They had some really interesting items with some great prices. So they're going to do their first YouTube sale, and it's tomorrow, Friday at 3 p.m. So definitely check their channel out. So it's Vintage Collectibles, and they spell collectibles differently than Pam. I don't know if Kibi's Collectibles is here. So Kibi's Collectibles, I think I figured out. Pam is with an A, so her Collectibles is with an A. Vintage has an I. We'll just ignore that other A. Vintage has an I, and that's how Vintage Collectibles spells theirs, is collectibles with an I. So hunt for them and check out their live sale. And then, of course, tomorrow night is Fatbird Finds Flippin' and Sippin'. It's something I look forward to all week long. I'm usually packing up orders from this sale while I'm hanging out with their chat. So a lot of fun stuff. And again, definitely check everybody out. And also check out, if you have not subscribed or follow anybody who's participated, make sure you're checking out Nesting Haven. Nicole at Nesting Haven. This is the 3rd year she has sponsored a Thriftmas in July collaborative, where a bunch of us recorded videos and they were posted onto a playlist on her channel. That playlist went live today. So at the last check, I saw there were 30 videos. There may be more by now, because that was earlier this afternoon when I looked. But there's quite a bit. And I will say, just from skimming a couple of the initial ones that I could watch while I was prepping for the sale, I've already found a couple channels that I was not familiar with, and I am now following them. So it's a great way to explore other channels by seeing a little snippet of what they're doing for Thriftmas in July. So check out Nesting Haven. That's the name of her channel, Nesting Haven. It's Nicole, but check her YouTube channel out, and you'll find the playlist there. Or even you could go into my channel, and if you look at my video, I actually have a link to the playlist on her page, so you can just do that if you're not having success finding. So it's already 5 after the hour, so we are going to go ahead and get things started. Most of the names that I'm seeing scrolling across, I recognize. So again, welcome to all of you. If anyone happens to be here that I've missed, hey, Katie, make sure, just so if you've never attended a sale before, this works just like most of the other ones. I will say this is a sale. I don't do any auctions, so there will be no auction format at any point tonight. So this is just a sale. If I'll show an item, I will give you a price on that item, and then I will announce the number. When you hear that number, if you're interested in the item, be the first person that we see on our side to enter that item number, and you will then claim that item. It's very important to recognize it's who we see on our side. The way the internet typically works, you are going to be quickest to your own internet connection. So often you'll see yourself as the first person, but we end up having to use what comes in. And in some cases, maybe 4 people come in at the exact same timestamp. So then it's just whatever YouTube spits out in the stream. So do not give the Huckster Helper any hassle. She will be announcing the winner in the chat. She will then message me who that is, and then I will announce it verbally. So you'll get double confirmation of who the person is that wins each item. If you see numbers scrolling into your chat, and do make sure you're in chat, not in the comment section. If you see numbers scrolling into the chat, it means you're buffering. You may not think you're buffering, but you are. Go ahead and refresh your screen. And you may want to just get in the habit of doing that, particularly if you're trying to buy certain items or you want to build up items so you can divvy up the cost of your freight. Anytime you see an item you don't like, hit the refresh screen. It'll make sure you get caught up, and you'll have the best, even if you're typically have slow internet, it gives you the best chance of being able to grab an item. Fast internet is your friend, but you can game it a little bit, and doing frequent refreshes does legitimately help. So again, most of you, I think, have been on here before. Linda Punky, I think I've recognized you from other sales, but welcome to mine. Of course, Michelle at Mermaid Cove, welcome for coming back. I think Michelle is actually in the process of setting up for her first sale. So we've got live sales galore. So definitely, if you're enjoying the format tonight, definitely check out some other ones. So we're going to go ahead and get things started. And the first thing I am going to do is get this thing that's sitting right in front of me out of the way so I don't knock it over. So the first item I've got is actually a set of small mugs. When I first picked these up, they are Reuter porcelain, German. They're marked on the bottom very clearly. They're relatively small, and I thought, oh, well, they're probably like Demitas, mugs, something like that. And they are 2 different designs. Of course, I pick up the ones that are the same. So I've got 2 different designs. I've got a little bunny rabbit, and I've got a little deer, or wait a minute, the fawn, is that when they've got the spots? Is that, I think somebody said that's a fawn. Anyway, there's 2 of the bunny rabbits and 2 of the fawns. So it's a set of 4. And I just thought they were smaller mugs. Not everyone drinks gallons of coffee, maybe for tea. As I did a little bit more research, I discovered this is actually part of a children's set. I only have the 4 mugs. I actually feel this is relatively large for a children's set. So again, it's a pretty decent size, but you're not doing your venti tall latte, whatever different things from Starbucks. So they're cute. They're little diminutive cups. They are all marked with the Reuter porcelain. Couple different versions of the mark, which is why I didn't even realize they were all together. But the set did sell this way: 2 of the deer and 2 of the bunnies. So you got all 4. And if you don't want to use them for mugs, I picked up my first air plants. So I'm also going to do a shout out because I picked these up online. I didn't know of any of my viewers that did air plants. So there's a program with it called Plants for Pets. So what's cool about it is if at any point you need to have purchased something from them initially, but if at any point after purchasing something from them, if you ever adopt a pet from a shelter, they will give you a set of 24 air plants. So I purchased these from Amazon. So it's the name of the company is actually, it's just bit.ly Plants for Pets. So I guess that's the name of their company, is Plants for Pets. So cool name for a company, cool concept, but it was this awesome set of a bunch of different size of air plants. So you're going to see several tonight because I have many items that can be used for air plants. So you've got a little mug, you can put a little air plant in there. So regardless of what you want to do with them, the entire set can be yours for $12, and you can get the set by giving me number 17. Number 17 is $12 for the set of 4 German porcelain mugs. All right. Something totally different. If you remember, if you attended my Christmas in July sale, there were I did a lot of vintage Christmas ornaments that I had found through a friend that I was helping do clear out her parents' estate. I ended up picking up a variety of other items that I'm now just kind of drifting into some of my sales. And this is a weird one that I felt was appropriate for right now, because I've got some sort of like fruit fly or some little tiny little bug flying around my house that I cannot get rid of, and I'm driving me crazy. But so we've got a fly swatter. We have a vintage fly swatter. It's stamped on here. It's simplex, does not mar furniture, or no, I guess the does not mar furniture swat the fly is the actual fly swatter. In the upper left-hand corner, it says simplex, which I don't know what they do, but then it's promoting groceries and meats. James Sanitary Market. Everyone wants their market to be sanitary. In Clifford, I think that's their phone number, Clifford 0677, because I don't think we ever had 4-digit zip codes. So I think that's like CLO 677. That's a guess. So I don't even know what state this is coming out of, but it's James Sanitary Market. It's a kind of a cool vintage fly swatter. So you've got the big paper, thick paper, semi-cardboard on the end, the wooden shaft, and then it's still got a little, I don't know if it's original or not, but there's this little wire hanger to actually be able to hang it. So the vintage fly swatter, does not mar furniture, swat the fly, is $6, and you can have it by giving me number 22. $6 for the vintage fly swatter. And number 17, the set of 4 mugs went to Vintage Collectibles. So thank you, Jeannie, for purchasing from my sale. All right. So again, Jeannie and her daughter, Heather, first sale tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern on, I think it's just called Vintage Collectibles on their channel. So definitely check them out. All right. The next item, again, if you've watched my channel in the past, I've had somewhat of an obsession with Jeffrey at Real Nifty Vintage, and he trained me. He didn't train me, but I learned a lot from him. And one of the things that I learned from a lot of particularly his earlier videos, he talked a lot about left-in. And that left an impression on me. And I ended up picking up a lot of left-in as well. And so I've got a couple of pieces that have been on my Etsy shop, and I'm just going to, sell them here. So this, again, hold an air plant. So this is just a small little miniature pitcher and bowl set. It has the cherubs. Actually, I guess they're technically angels because there is a set of wings. So I don't remember if cherubs have wings too. I can't remember the difference anymore. But you've got the little pitcher and then the little bowl. The bowl has the same kind of the grape leaf motif going around the outside. It does have the recess in there. So this is designed to go together. It's not just like we found a bowl and married it together. It does have the original Lefton stamp on it. It's the trademark exclusives Japan. So that's covers into the 80s. So that is not the earliest stamp, but it is one of their earlier stamps, and it still has the Japan stamp. So it's before they left Japan. This one also has, which isn't particularly common, the name of the design style etched into the side. So it's kind of hard to see, but it says Renaissance by Lefton is impressed right into the edge. So this is part of the Renaissance series. So you've got the little pitcher, the little bowl. The air plants are not going to be included. We will turn this into an interesting game to see if I can keep these things alive for show to show. But if you don't like the air plant, you can just have a little diminutive pitcher and bowl, and you can pick them up for the bargain price of $5. So $5 for the little Lefton pitcher and bowl set. $5 by giving me number 48. Number 48, $5 for the vintage Lefton pitcher and bowl. All right, and jumping over into the chat, 22, the fly swatter went to Melody Harris. So congratulations, Melody. Thanks for picking up the fly swatter. Can't remember where you live, so I don't know if maybe you're in the South. You got even bigger bugs. That's a pretty big fly swatter. So let us know if you put it to use. All right, if you follow my Instagram channel, which I encourage you to do, my name is going across the bottom, so you can follow my Instagram. I do some previews of items that'll be in the sale, and this is an item that I included in my preview. It is a fairly, as opposed to the little diminutive mugs, this is a fairly hefty sized mug from Harrods. So it has the Harrods banner on the, basically being held by the teddy bear. The teddy bear then also has the Harrods bow around his neck. And then it's decorated on all around. So you've got the entire series of teddy bears, each of them with some sort of Harrods marking on them, the hat, the scarf, the shopping bag. So, you know, if you didn't know it was already Harrods, you could look on the inside. And so as you're drinking, you can see Harrods bear, you know, announcing that this is Harrods. And all of your friends, when you take a drink, can look at the bottom of your mug and say, oh, look, it's Harrods. I didn't notice. So we've got it's actually really high quality porcelain. It's a really nice piece. And again, this is a fairly decent size. I should start figuring out how to measure how much would go in this. But I would say based on other mugs, this is probably hovering around like a 10-ounce mug. We've got a Keurig, so it's kind of good to know how much your mug can hold. Otherwise, your mugs overflow. So I would say that's kind of in that 10-ounce, a little bit more than 8, probably less than 12. So 10-ounce Harrods mug, porcelain, fine bone china, made in England, Harrods branding all over the place. So bring out your inner Anglophile, and you can have it for $8 by giving me number 34. $8, number 34 for the Harrods mug. All right. This is going to, probably the Harrods mug is more contemporary. I don't think it's new, but it's more contemporary. We're going backwards. We're reliving the 70s. And we're reliving mushroom chalkware. So this is, again, fairly decent size piece. Got my tape measure here, so I should measure it. It is a 9.5, about 10-inch tall piece of chalkware. It has the mushrooms on there. As with vintage chalkware is often the case, there are a couple of places that have a little bit of paint loss. You've got a little bit there in the little wood graining section on the side, and a couple places along the bottom. But in general, if you hung it and the wire is still here, which is important because if these things ever snap out, it's kind of hard to replace them. You've got a piece that when it hangs, the discoloration is kind of off to the sides, that it doesn't really impact the overall view of the piece. I don't believe this one was stamped to say who made it. A lot of times they'll say along the edge, but you can kind of see this has like almost like a scalloped edge because it was trying to replicate the wood graining. So there's nothing there, and there's really nothing on the back either. Sometimes I've had some that it's marked on the back. This one does not appear to be marked, but it's clearly a vintage piece. It's clearly of its era. You know, anyone who grew up or lived in the 70s probably had something very like it. So if you would like to recreate this for your own home, you can do so for the bargain price of $6 by giving me number 64. $6, number 64 for the mushroom chalkware plaque. All right, falling behind in the chat. So number 48 went to 48 was the Lefton pitcher and bowl. That went to Lynn Johnson. Thanks for buying from us again, Lynn. And number 34, the Harrods mug, went to Judy Gillespie. So thank you again for buying from us again, Judy. And I always get little footnotes from the Huckster Helper because I have a problem keeping up with the chat. And I was not aware of this, that the Harrods logo is no longer green. So that the mug did actually have some age, maybe more age to it than I was aware. It's just really high quality porcelain. So it's a nice piece. And the mushroom plaque went to Lisa Carl. So thank you, Lisa. I think that's the first time I've recognized your name. So if this is your first purchase, people change their names all the time. So it's kind of like a game. Sometimes I miss it. So if you're a new person, again, just keep in mind what's scrolling across the bottom. Go ahead and send us an email at some point after the sale. And what you basically need to send me is your shipping address, or at least the zip code, so that I can calculate shipping. So all the prices I'm giving you that I'm announcing tonight do not include shipping, and I will calculate it based on the actual weight of whatever it is you buy, 1 item or 10 items. They'll get merged together, and I will calculate what the real shipping would be. So thanks for purchasing tonight. If you signed on early enough, I had commented that Laura Bimos was in the house. And Laura Bimos, again, had done a deep dive with me this past Sunday. I do 2 a month, the second and fourth Sundays of the month. I always do a deep dive, which is basically just an interview with a collector on a very specific and niche kind of subject. I've had vintage clothing of the 50s. I've had uranium glass. We had typewriter ribbon tins, which I'll give you a sneak peek. I have one later. We've had a variety of topics, and this last one was dominoes. And during the program, we actually talked about, I had a couple sets of dominoes that we used as examples, and this is one of them, and I am now selling it. So this is a bag o' dominoes. It is from Playforms. It has the address of the company printed right onto it. So it's New York 3. And because the zip code, it is a zip code, but it's not a 5-digit zip code, it means it dates from 1943 to 1963. And I did a little bit of digging, and it turns out that Playforms did a partnership with Creative Playthings in the late 50s, early 60s, and brought a Swedish company, Playforms, into America. And so this was one of their partnerships. They did a lot of Creative Playthings. I want to say still exists, if I remember right, but they do a lot of like the little trucks. Well, they're not really little, but like the kids' trucks that are just like a molded piece of wood, or where it's more like it's using the kids' imagination to do things. And so this ended up being a set that they made gigantic dominoes out of that same large wood concept. They made a children's set of large dominoes. So, you know, tactile, you didn't have to try and fumble with something really small. Full disclosure, I did not discover this when I bought it, although I guessed I didn't have a complete set. I have now confirmed I do not have a complete set, because this is a double 6 set. And I only know this because of the deep dive. And there are supposed to be 28 pieces to it. Yeah, I didn't know that either until the deep dive. This piece has, I want to say it was 12 or 13. So we're not really playing a full game of some of the dominoes games. But to me, this is just a cool set of wooden blocks with the domino design. Would look great in any type of vignette, any type of vintage, childhood, anything like that. You can use them as risers to bring things up. They'll look cool. And I'm sorry, I think the bag itself is actually one of the coolest things. Like that logo, I don't even know what that's supposed to be. A polar bear, a horse, I have no idea. But you can have the bag of dominoes, of the big wooden dominoes, the same bag that we participated in the deep dive, which became my fastest growing. It became the most popular deep dive I've done the night it published. So hope if you haven't checked it out, it's a great deep dive. Everyone enjoyed it because everyone loves Laura BMOS. So again, thanks for Laura for doing it. Thanks for being in the chat. And you can pick up a piece of BMOS history for $8 by giving me number 33. $8 for the ginormous set of dominoes. Now, again, remember they're wood, so I have to ship these, but it's a cool set. All right. The next piece I got personally excited about, and no one else will probably be excited by it, but I was, because if you've watched any of my channels before, just like the deep dives, I like the research. I like to discover what it is that even if I'm just reselling it, I want to be able to discover what it is, not necessarily to determine, oh, is it more valuable and can I get more money out of it? It's really more of, I think it's always more interesting when I pick something up and I know there's a story behind it, even if the story is just, this is made in Poland, or this is made in France, or this, or this was made in the 20s, that type of thing. So this was a piece that to me was pretty clearly a candlestick holder, not a big stretch on what it was. Threw an air plant on there, but it is a candlestick holder. It's a pretty hefty candlestick holder, and it has a stamp on it that I didn't recognize. So I guess it's kind of upside down because I think that's a 1 inside the S. So I did a little bit of digging. If no one's used Google Lens is amazing. And so I put this into Google Lens after I bought it. I'd already bought it. I knew I was going to sell it because I just thought it was a cool looking piece. I would have guessed this was probably 60s, maybe 70s, because it's like that avocado olive green color. But because of the lines on it, I thought this was very 60s, maybe 50s, but because of the color, again, I kind of pushed this in the 60s. Well, what I discovered is it is a company called Stuhler Ceramic. It's a German company. So Steuler, and then ceramic, but the German word version of it. So ceramic. And what I found out was, okay, so that's the design. They switched to that imprint in the 60s. And so this, and with the numbers at the bottom, that all matches around a mid 60s was when these were manufactured. So, okay, I was right. But what I discovered, and I didn't take it out of the hutch, but this was a stamp they introduced in the 60s. Prior to that, they used a different looking stamp, and it was on a piece of pottery that I had not been able to identify. So I totally out of sheer luck, totally won the lottery on that one, because I liked this piece. This does not look anything like the other piece I have, but the other piece is older. It's from the 40s. And so they had a different stamp underneath it, and it's totally unrelated to this one. So like even buying this and seeing that did not click in my mind, but I bought it because it's just high quality pottery. And it is high quality pottery. So it's Stuhler ceramic. So it's West German pottery, and it's an absolutely pristine condition, which for anyone who's new, unless I specifically say everything I do is in great condition, I really don't sell anything with damage unless it's something pretty special and I can overlook it. So anyway, perfect condition, just some great lines, the kind of the darker and then the lighter olive green. It is available for $15 for the candlestick, and that is number 19. So the Stuhler ceramic candlestick holder, $15, number 19. All right. So then 33, the Dominoes in a Bag went to Deanna Dill. So thanks for purchasing from me again, Deanna. Congratulations. And let us know if you do anything fun with them. I always love to hear. And also if you follow me on Instagram, make sure if you post pictures of the things you get, that's starting to happen more often. People are saying, they're doing like friend mail or whatever, and they're posting what they get. I love to see when you buy it from me, if it goes into a collection or if it just goes up on a shelf. I love to see how people end up using it. I think it's great. So don't ever hesitate to post something on Instagram and go ahead and tag TH Mercantile. Absolutely love to see what you're doing with it. And the candlestick holder went to Lisa Carl. So again, congratulations, Lisa. The next piece is going into something a little bit older and a little bit more traditional. I talked about these once before in a haul video because these reminded me of Katie. She has a set of elegant glass bowls that she had picked up from her grandmother, and she'd been trying to identify them. And the flower kind of looked like that, but then I went back and looked at her video again, and it's a little bit different, but it's the same concept. It's the clear depression glass with the etching on it, which gives it the term of the elegant glass. It has the lace top on both with the rim. These are molded pieces. You can barely see underneath the lip of the creamer. You can see that there's the seam. And then if you were to hold it, and this is common in depression molded glass, pressed glass, if you were to hold it, you would feel a fairly substantial seam right here within the handle. So that's, again, just the way they were made. They're absolutely gorgeous pieces and in absolutely pristine condition. There's no chips, there's no cracks, there's no splits anywhere in that lace top. So it's really just a great addition. And because they're clear, they go with anything. And I'm sorry, I may lose subscribers, but because they're also clear, they can go in the dishwasher. And to me, that's more important than anything. So a lot of the glass that I use for my daily wear, I get clear. And, a lot of people are like, oh, no, you go with colors. Colors will, flash stuff will get destroyed in the dishwasher. Clear will stay forever. So top shelf, but regardless. So you've got the creamer and sugar. If you wanted to try and put an air plant in there, you could. But you've got the creamer and sugar, elegant glass, depression glass. I've lost my tag. There it is. It is $9 for the set, the creamer and the sugar set. And you can have that by giving me number 46. 46 is $9 for the elegant depression glass, creamer and sugar. All right. If you followed my channel in the past, you'll know that a lot of what I've done is how I started my channel was to sell props and set dressing that I used for local community theater productions. And so a lot of that went onto my Etsy shop, and it's kind of creepy that this is like what's popping up from the bottom of the screen. But I'm also going through, I need to make storage. I need room for everything. So I have started selling some of the props through these live sales as well. And so this is a piece. It is a pewter, I guess a creamer, because it does have the spout to it. I don't know if it was ever actually designed to hold cream. Maybe. It has the Liberty Bell seal on the front, and then on the back, it has USA is impressed right underneath the lip. The bottom is not marked at all. My assumption is this is clearly an American piece of pewter, and it's most likely an American piece of pewter that was made in 1976 to celebrate the bicentennial, which is why it has the Liberty Bell. Because if you didn't live through 1976, everything had a frickin' flag on it, or had a Liberty Bell on it, or you walked around looking like George Washington. At least that's what everyone make you think. Bicentennial was a pretty big deal, and that's why you tend to find a lot of that stuff. This is a very nice, heavy, well, not heavy, but it's a very solid piece of pewter. This is not a lightweight aluminum knockoff piece. This is not colonial, but it is a 1970s pewter, and it is a nice piece. It also does look kind of cool with this really wild air plant in there. And again, this is one of those air plants I got. It was a set of 16 air plants for like $18. So, you know, I don't get any money from them. I don't even know their real name, but it's if you find that group, it's a great deal. So anyway, so this is a pewter, American pewter pitcher / creamer. You can have it for $8 by giving me number 2. It last graced the stage of Little Women the musical, where I played Professor Bear. All right. Next piece is going a little bit newer than Bicentennial. This is a piece, and it's one of those cases that I'm trying to diversify a little bit. My background, I've only been reselling since October, and I started exclusively on Etsy. So everything that I do, by definition, had to be vintage. It has to, well, there are definitions. It had to be at least 20 years old. So I really didn't look at contemporary stuff. So now I'm starting to play around a little bit with eBay, and then these live sales are giving me a little bit more flexibility. And what I'm discovering is I think I've been into an anthropology store before, like maybe when my daughter was younger and buying clothes, and I was paying for those clothes, so I was there. But I didn't realize they did more than clothes. And so I'm finding all these different things that are anthropology items that are really cool. So this is a travel mug, and it's a fairly substantial travel mug in weight. It is made out of a fairly thick-walled pottery. So this is not plastic. This is a pretty substantial travel mug. It has that like flexy silicone rubbery, you know, top to snap onto it. I haven't tested it, so I wouldn't 100% trust that it's leak proof. But the little hole for drinking, there's no way to lock it down. So it's really not leak proof anyway, but it is a travel mug, and the theme in it is super cool. There's like the little moped, and then there's somebody on roller blades. There's a unicycle, a bicyclist, another bicyclist, the tandem bicycle with a kid on the back. It's just kind of, it's decorated on all sides. It's super cute. And it still has the original UPC label on it. So this is basically new with tag. So this is actually one of the items that I put onto my eBay store. I have 2 of them. So I'm selling one on the eBay store, and I'm selling one here. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm selling it here for about half the price that I'm listing it for on eBay. So this is the Anthropology new with tag travel mug or travel tumbler. And you can have it for $9. $9, number 31. $9, number 31 for the Anthropology travel mug. All right, falling behind in the chat again. So we've got number 2, the pewter mug went to Stacy Brinkley. So congratulations, Stacy. And number 46, the elegant glass creamer and sugar went to Lynn Johnson. So thank you, Lynn, for picking up another item. And, you know, you guys, I hope you have fun in these sales. Some people never buy because they just don't, and you have fun in the sale, and that's great. Just keep in mind that you're paying for the freight. So if at any point you want to add items, it'll divvy up the cost of the freight. So I will combine that purchase with the others. And hopefully save you a little bit each item on freight. And number 31, the Anthropology mug went to Vintage Collectibles, and my daughter, the Huckster Helper, gave me an editorial. Anthropology is crazy expensive. So the one near us closed. I don't know if they've technically all gone out of business. I think it might have. Yeah, so that was the Anthropology that goes to Vintage Collectibles. All right, the next item, again, if you followed me on Instagram, you would have seen this as one of my promotional items. It is a pen cup, is the best thing I can assume it was used for, made from a series of vintage pop bottles. Now, if you look really closely, you've got the Pepsi, you've got 7-Up, you've got RC, you have a couple Coca-Cola ones. The Coca-Cola ones are all the same style. They have a customer service number on there. But then if you look right next to the Coca-Cola one, you can see there's this one called Pop Cola, and there's that P has a line through it and the number 5. I had to do a little bit of digging on this, and that shows up on a couple of them. The orange one has it as well. It's got the P and then a 6. The Cheers has a P and a 6. So I had to do a little digging to figure out, well, what currency is that? And it turns out these are Philippines. So these are vintage pop bottle tops. Probably because of the phone numbers, it's even though that's an international phone number, it's still 7 digits. So we're probably more in around the 2000s as opposed to super vintagey. But they are real pop bottle tops, and you can see some of them are creased from when they were initially removed, but they've been pretty nicely pulled together and punched and then wired so that it creates a fairly stable, fairly sturdy. I could crush this if I really, really wanted to, but it's not flimsy. This is actually a really nice piece. It's not marked in any way other than by a bunch of other pop bottles, but so I don't know, who's making these. They may have been a touristy item. I have no idea, but it's super cool. It's very unique. And I would say of the items that I posted for my previews, this got the most comments and the most likes. It's just a cool looking piece, and it can be yours by giving me $10. And for $10, you be yours by giving me the number 63, $10 for the vintage pop bottle pen cup. All right. Again, I like to do research. And so this was another item that I had a lot of fun buying because this comes up a little bit, and some people talk about it openly, some people don't. Do you feel bad buying something at an inexpensive price and then reselling it in these live sales or on Etsy for a more expensive price? Define bad. It's this, admittedly, this to me is a side gig, but for a lot of people, this is their job. This is their prime income. This is how they support their families. And so there's a difference between taking advantage of somebody and finding a good deal. And I feel that any research that I do could be done by anyone. So if they're trying to sell something and they want to sell it for the most money they can get for it, they need to have done the research themselves. They need to have found a buyer. They need to do that work. That's a lot of work. Prepping for these sales, although I do enjoy it and I do enjoy the sales themselves, prepping for these sales is a lot of work. And then you also figure, okay, we all found these items. A lot of people post their shop with me videos, things like that. And he's like, oh, they bought that for only $1 and then they sold it for 10. How could they do that? Well, maybe they bought it for $1, but they drove there. They paid for their gas. Some cases, they've stayed in a hotel, depending on the type of trip. There are costs associated. So it is what it is. I will never take advantage of somebody where I'm trying to cheat them out of some things just so I can make more money. I am trusty. I'm a huckster, but I'm the trusty huckster. So I do like to be fair. I've been told it's because I'm a Libra. I'm big on balance. But this was a case where I just moved into a new vintage mall, and primarily it is selling furniture, and they sell their furniture and decor. And most of the vendors that are already there are primarily selling furniture. And then they pick up pieces of decor literally just to kind of accent their booth. So it doesn't look like they're, in a furniture store. So what I'm discovering is they're finding these pieces and then they're putting them in their booth at ludicrously low prices. So this is a case where I was able to pick this up for a low price. It's, you know, it's still a store, so it wasn't like a quarter, but low for what it was, because I could tell, first of all, just looking at it, well, just looking at it, I think this is beautiful. Again, I like porcelain, so this is, you know, this is my thing. But if you look at the cut work on this metal, that is a very specific era. If you've watched some of my videos, I'm starting building a secessionist era collection of pottery. That is of that same era. The Wiener Werkstatt is probably one of the best known German and Austrian manufacturers of this style. So when I picked this up, I could see it was stamped, but I couldn't read the stamp. So I picked it up. It also has impressed marks on there. It says 2U and then the number 20. I was hoping that the 20 reference to that it was made in 1920, because that would have been on the tail end leading into Deco. That would have been the Jugendstil, the secessionist look. And that is what it is. It is BMF. So that's what the mark is. It says B. You can kind of see the B and the F is pretty clear, but the M looks kind of wonky. And it's because the M is stamped over the legs of a stork. So that's what that mark is. It's a stork. So it's a BMF stork mark. And this is something that probably would sell really well on Etsy. But I like selling here. And so I'm going to give you guys the first shot at it. BMF stands for Bayerische Metallfabrik. Well, I'm sure there's a better way to say that because it's not French. So my huckster helper who speaks German is not here to pronounce it for me. But Bayerisch is Bavaria. So it's from southern Germany. It is of the era. Again, I believe the 20, it means 1920, but it's just, again, from this look, if with the aluminum, with that piercing, you're in the teens to 20s, regardless of the era. And it's a beautiful piece of porcelain. So you've got this great aluminum trim tray marked with the BMF stork mark, and you can have it for 30 bucks. So it's a little more expensive than what I typically sell, but this is the type of stuff that also goes on my Etsy store. If it doesn't sell here, it'll go into Etsy for more. But for now, it's 30 bucks for the BMF stork marked tray. You can have it by giving me number 57. So 57 gets you the porcelain tray with the pierced metal rim. Okay. So we went to what I like. That's the kind of stuff that I love, you know, that era, that type of porcelain, you know, again, and the story, you know, the person who was selling it, she just sold it because it looked pretty on the vanity that she was selling. So I got it. I've been very upfront with the people that I've bought from, saying, you know what, I'm buying this. I sold a piece of a Colport porcelain floral vase the same day I listed it. And I went back and I told the seller, like, hey, FYI, you sold that to me for $5 and I sold it for $35 in the same day. I probably could have gotten more. And they were thrilled. They're like, oh, cool. Glad you made money. So, all right. Moving away from porcelain, we're moving to something I've never seen before. Some assembly required. It is this probably 70s, maybe 60s Hostess tray. Kind of a lazy Susan, but it's not really designed to rotate. It is this central stand, and then there's these sets of pedals. And these pedals have this little lip in the top, and that little lip fits into the center, into these holes in the center, and then kind of rest on a lip within the plastic itself. This is a full set. It was manufactured in Chicago by Superior Molded Products. This is one of those cases where these aren't, I'm not going to say they're rare because that would probably be an overstatement, but these are not particularly common to the point I was having a hard time finding anything made by this company. So it's sometimes fun when you recognize I'm based near Chicago. There can be things like this that never really made it into nationwide production. They were just kind of a local thing. And so it's a brown center key with the holder, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 of the pedals alternating between the darker green, olive, like avocado color, and then a lighter. I mean, this is kind of a yellow, but there's a little bit of a greenish tint to it. So more like a citrusy, yellowish green. This is just super cool. And what's nice about it is, as you saw, I had to put it together for shipping. It's very lightweight, and all these petals come out, so I don't need a massive box in order to ship this, and it's not going to weigh a ton. So you've got a very cool Superior Molded Products product. I'm going to call it a Lazy Susan because I think that's kind of its function. It just doesn't spin. So the fact that it's got the handle like a tidbit tray, maybe you carry it around, you just set it in the center of a table. It just kind of looks cool. And if you're looking for that vintagey decor, you've got it in one piece. And that one piece can be yours for $20 by giving me number 58. So it's $20, number 58 for the Superior Products Molded Lazy Susan. All right, I'm falling behind in the chat again. So, and yes, the question came in, is it all plastic? Yes, the centerpiece is all plastic and all of those individual petals are plastic. So 57, the BMF porcelain and aluminum tray went to Grace 2010H. So congratulations, Grace. You're getting probably my favorite item from the entire sale tonight. I almost hate to see it go, but I hope you're going to give it a good home. Or if you resell it, go ahead and resell it. But I think you're a new name to us. So again, just make sure you send me an email with your shipping address so I can get you an invoice. And just for everyone who's buying, if you haven't bought from me before, I am doing this by myself. So I will try and get all invoices to you by Saturday night so that by Sunday morning you will have one. And Saturday night could be 2 a.m. So don't get too hung up on the definition of night. So if by Sunday morning, if you don't have it, you might want to contact me because most likely I sent it, maybe it went into spam, or what's been happening lately is some emails are just blocking it completely. I don't know that it's been blocked and you don't know that it went into spam and there's just no record of it. So just let me know. So just be on the lookout for it. And I will make sure I will definitely take care of you and try and give you, I'll get you your invoices as quickly as I can. And the plastic tray, Superior Molded Products went to for Sandy's Lilacs. So thanks, Sandy, for picking that up again, or for buying from us again. All right. The next item, this again came from the estate closeout that I did. This was one, again, when you start getting into things that you're not used to, it becomes a little bit more of a struggle. Like I love shopping with George at the Antique Nomad because he's been doing this for so long. He can look at something and think, oh, that's this, or that's this era, or that's manufactured in Kentucky. He just knows things. I struggle a little bit. And in a really weird history, I owned a quilt shop I was a family business with my wife at the time and the Huckster helper. We had a family business. We actually owned a fabric store and quilt shop. We did that for 10 years. So when I saw this, I felt this was not super old. That this was a cotton printed fabric that was printed on one side and was the faded version on the back side, which that's just the way fabric is made. I feel this had been done as a pattern. That was a thing. We owned the business in the 2000s. If you look really closely, you can see those white lines that run along there. What I believe this had been is a cutout pattern on a bolt of fabric that you bought the half yard or yard of fabric to get the pattern. You cut out all these pieces and then you sewed them all together. So you figured out, you cut out the pocket, you cut out the apron strings. And the reason I don't think this is particularly aged and is definitely handmade is they used the raw edge of the fabric called the selvage as the bottom of the apron. So that's just a very long and convoluted way to say this is probably only about 20 years old. But it's still an apron of a very distinct look. It is well made because it does have darts. So, and what I desperately tried to find if there was a pattern on here to know the darts. But because you sew the darts from the back, I don't think it was. So somebody, either the pattern was really well defined or somebody knew what they were doing. And they were able to sew darts into this so that it ruffles a little bit at the top and still flares out at the bottom. It is a black and green pattern. What's really weird to me is it's kind of got a mid-century modern vibe to it. But again, I'm being very honest that I do not think it's that old. I could be wrong. But what I see are little Christmas trees. And I don't know if this is a Christmas pattern or not. Because if you look at it from a distance, it's just black and green. If anything, you'd think of St. Patrick's Day. But if you look at it really up close, it just appears that those are little, maybe they're just supposed to be little arrows, but whatever. So you've got it is a handmade apron, but you may not be talking about a super old handmade apron. And it does have the one pocket on the front, and I should have known better. Yes, I can wear it. So the strings are long enough to fit around me. So it's a decent size. And it can be yours for only $4. And by giving me number 54, $4, number 54 for the apron that I'm now sitting on the strings. There we go. $4, number 54 for the black and green apron. Realize I popped out of the chat, so I was missing all the comments. And Amelia, the Huckster helper, is showing off her German again. Oh, hey, Nicole from Nesting Haven. I don't know if you were on earlier. I was talking about your collaboration. So I hope everyone checks out Nicole's channel. Let us know how many videos you're up to, Nicole. Last I checked, I saw 30. But I know you said you were probably on track to get into the 40s, if not more. So let me know. Let us know how many videos and how many days we can spend watching Thriftmas in July on the Nesting Haven channel. All right, the next piece is something that I actually picked up recently, and I had not planned. I had already set aside everything that I wanted for the sale, and I decided to just add these because I thought they were super cool. If anyone remembers the Partridge families, you've got the little partridge. We've got a little partridge family or quail family. I don't know how you know the difference between a partridge and a quail. With that little hair thing, I think this is a quail, but say it's a partridge. It's that two-tone black pottery where you've got the glossy pottery on the bulk of the body, and then the way they designed this was super unique. They took the unglazed, they kept it unglazed and did this matte finish where the wings are. So it's got this kind of cool, the body, again, you can see how much it's reflecting. Then you've got the wings creating the two-tone. And so you've got the father, you've got the mother, and you've got the little baby. Isn't it cute? So between the biggest and the smallest, you can kind of see the difference, how they kind of fit together. So it's a 3-piece set. It's a mom, a dad, and the child. Which I always have an affinity to that because the Huckster helper is an only child. So, family of 3. 3 is the magic number. We can all remember our Schoolhouse Rock. They're just super cool. And so when I picked these up, I'm like, you know what? I'm adding these to the sale because I just liked the looks of them. They're a nice, decent. They're not marked, unfortunately. So I'm not sure who made them. They are ceramic because they have the stilt marks on here. I know there's been debate on some channels about what makes it porcelain or pottery or whatever. If there's marks in the glaze, typically there's gonna be 3 of them in a triangle. It means it was a stilt mark fired in a kiln. That's typically going to be a piece of ceramic. Porcelain does not require the stilts. So these are pottery or ceramic. It's a set of 3 quail family. And they're that black on black glaze, and you can have the whole set. The whole family can come home to you for $20 by giving me number 53. $20, number 53 for the 3-piece quail family pottery set or ceramic set. Actually, I think they're not made at home pottery. Or ceramics. I would say they're fall better into the studio pottery type. All right. Number 54, which is the green and black apron, went to Michelle at Mermaid Cove. So congratulations, Michelle. Thanks for picking that up. All right. Another item that again, getting into some areas that I don't typically get into, I've got some bottles. So again, watching a lot of live sales, Misty, Thrifter, Junker, Vintage Hunter, even Fappered Finds, Jeffrey, a lot of people end up having bottles in their sale. This is one of those areas that had to do some research trying to figure out what makes a good bottle, what makes a bad bottle. I'm still not mastering that. I just kind of thought these were cool and I've got them at a decent price, so I wanted to pass them on. So this one is a Crush bottle, obviously. It is bottled in Evanston, Illinois. What I liked about this one is you can kind of see it in the image. So it's got the smooth body. It's actually not even smooth. There's actually a texture. You can kind of see the texture in the upper part of the bottle, but it's a little bit smoother until it comes down into the bottom where it flares out a little bit. And then it's got this ribbed edge. So it just looks really cool. I know Rachel at Superior Go Vintage. She's got a whole collection of bottles. I don't know what people do with the bottles. So hey, I put an air plant in there. I don't know if it really works, but hey, so we've got the Crush bottle. And then this one I had to do some research, and I actually am not 100% sure. So those of you that do bottles, please educate me. This is one of those styles that actually has the line where you have the half cup, quarter cup thing, where you end, or half cup thing. So where I don't know if this is a medicine style bottle where you're supposed to put the syrup in up to the bottom, and then you put the rest of it is water, so it mixes it up. So I don't know if it's a soda bottle syrup or if it's more of a medicinal bottle. A lot of them are available online, so I mean, I felt comfortable, being able to sell it and price it, but I couldn't find anyone that said what it was. So I don't know what that measurement is actually helping measure from. So if anyone wants to pop that into the comments, I would appreciate knowing that. But regardless, it is 2 bottles are available, and they are available for a total of $8. So for $8, you get both the crushed bottle and the half and half bottle. For $8, give me number 32. So number 32 gets you the 2 bottle set. All right. So number 53, the Quail family went to Mid-Century Wasted. And yes, I think the troll hair works really well on the top of the bottles. Like I said, I mean, I don't mean to harp on that one company, but they gave me a really wide variety. You're kind of seeing them pop up in different places. So my biggest concern is it was going to fall in the bottom and I'd have to try and fish it out. So for right now, they're just very precariously balancing on the top. Those are the bottles. So staying in that kind of vein, this was from that estate sale that I was helping out. So again, moving into areas that I'm not that particularly that familiar with. We've got a vintage Ammons medicated powder bottle or canister that still has the powder in it. So this one, I could not figure out the era. There's no expiration date to it. There's no dates or anything. The name of the city just says New York, but that doesn't mean it didn't have a zip code. It just wasn't promoting its zip code because it wasn't listing it as an address. So the Ammons medicated bottle, the top of it is a pressure bottle. It doesn't really screw on, and it is metal. So it is an all metal canister with the seam that runs down the bottom. And there's a little bit of oxidation at the very bottom of it, but in general, it's in really good shape. So you've got that can. You then have a vintage Alka-Seltzer bottle. This one actually has the expiration date on it that says it expired in 1985. So we're in the early 80s for the glass Alka-Seltzer bottle with the metal screw on top. And then my favorite piece, I just kind of put these all together into a lot. My favorite piece is this bandage box from Red Cross Cotton. So it has the Red Cross symbol on it. It's got a couple condition issues. It's been loved, but it still has the bandage in it, still wrapped in its tissue. So this is just super cool. In the handful of cases where I could find this as the box, it didn't still have the contents in it. So I think this is pretty cool. So basically I put this, kind of turn this into like a weird little bathroom lot. So you've got the bandage box along with the medicated powder and the Alka-Seltzer bottles. You get all 3 of those for $15. And so you get all 3 for $15 by giving me number 56. Number 56, $15 for the set of 3 bathroom-related bottle items. Now, related to that, I've done this for a couple of sales. As I said, I'm kind of exploring eBay, trying to determine the best way to use it and what works, what doesn't work, and how it changes, and it's different from Etsy. So one of the things that I've done is, this is again from the estate, I found a set of bottles that I decided based on what they were selling for. They were all over the place. Every individual bottle was selling between $5 and $10. But then when they went into a lot, they'd sell for a little bit less, because you're buying a group. So I I'm doing this primarily. This money goes back to the estate, so I do get a cut of it. But I want to make sure, because it's a friend, I want to make sure she gets the best money that she can. So what I've done is I've taken these 5 bottles, and these are currently live on my eBay shop right now as an auction. So we've got the Pond's extract bottle. There's a little note written in there about when she bought it, where she bought it, but she picked up at a garage sale, so it doesn't really say all that much. There's a Heinz honey and almond cream from A.S. Heinz Company, Bloomfield, New Jersey. So you've got that bottle, and that actually still has the metal top on it, the screw on top. You've got an old bottle of hydrogen peroxide with the original brown label to it. Unfortunately, there was damage to the bottom that I'm not sure what city that is anymore. I want to say it's Bloomington or possibly Barrington, Illinois, most likely Bloomington, because Barrington wasn't known for much other than Jewel Tea. But the name is also kind of the HEBC. It's hard to read some of these. So this one I couldn't even research to know how much that one should go for. We've got another bottle with a cork in it. This one is an old Listerine, the Lambert bottle that has the Pharmacol Company embossed on the bottom of it. And then the last one is the largest one, and that is the bluish green tint. And this one is the Caldwell's Syrup Pepsin, manufactured by the Pepsin Syrup Company in Monticello, Illinois. And I'm based in Illinois, so it's not a big surprise that some of these are, specifically Illinois based. So the set of 5 is currently available on eBay, and I encourage you to take a look at my eBay store and take a look at that if you like bottles. This is a really nice mix. The starting price on the auction, I want to say, I took a lot of time to research it. I think it's a good starting point. We'll just kind of see where it goes, and maybe it finishes at the starting point. Who knows? But those are all available, and hope you take a look if you're interested in bottles. All right, we had somebody purchase. So number 56. The bandage, the Alka-Seltzer powder box went to Deanna Dill. That was number 56, went to Deanna Dill. So congratulations on picking those up. All right. The next set is a set of porcelain. And this is, I had to do a little bit of research on this one, primarily to check to see if it's something that it's not. I do not believe this is a chain family. There's nothing on here that indicates a hole or any mark where the chains would have been. So a lot of times when you see a family like this, they would be chained together. I can't swear that this isn't a chained family, but again, there's nothing on any of these 3 pieces that would indicate that they should have metal stringing the 3 of them together. But a lot of times when you see a family like this, they are. This is a Norcrest piece. It still has the original label from Japan on the mother. So you've got the mother standing up. The little horns are still there. All 3 of these are in absolutely perfect condition, and they've got really great accents of gold on a lot of them. So she's standing up. Then you've got one of the kids is also standing up. All 4 of the legs are in great condition, not been snapped off, not been re-glued. Also horns, ears, everything's great. That was just a flash spot. I thought that white spot was a crack. It's just a highlight of the light. So we've got no issues on him. And then this one I thought was broken initially, but if you look at it, you can see, I'm like, oh, the legs are snapped off, but it's sitting like a giraffe would sit with its black feet folded under itself. So you can see the black foot is actually pushed back away from the body. So it's actually, again, in perfect condition. So this one does not have the horns. So I do not know my giraffe anatomy. So I don't know, do only the males have the horns? So maybe that's the dad and not the mom. How odd, having a dad watching the 2 kids. Like people act like men can't do that. So regardless, you've got an adult and 2 kids of the Norcrest giraffe. They're all in great condition. They all have the little, some just sweet faces on them, and they all have the accents of gold and specks of gold in their paint. Again, they're Norcrest Japan, so I'm not 100% sure their age, but they do have some age to them. The full set of 3 is available for $25, and you can get that for number 61. So number 61, $25 for the set of 3 Japan giraffes. And I just saw that Dawn Schonkweiler is in the house tonight. So hello, Dawn. Thanks for joining. Saying that her uncle, she's from the Bloomington area, that her uncle used to work in Monticello. So that's interesting. And if you haven't been in the chats before, Dawn runs a dachshund rescue. So any Doxy lovers out there, just one more dachshund rescue, JOMDR. Take a look at it. She currently has 17 dachshunds, and she was actually, she might be up to 18. I think she just picked up Augie Doggy, which is just the best name. I can't believe you hadn't used it yet. Augie Doggy was the newest addition, and she's paying for some medical work for that. All right, next piece is going into another textile. This one is a very large piece, and yes, I will model it. So this one, I'm actually gonna have a hard time showing the entire thing. It is, the design of this is one of the few scarves and textiles that I've had that actually still had a label on it. Unfortunately, the label is not in English. So this is a case where this item, I don't remember doing so, but I have traveled in Asia, and I have a feeling I might have picked this up as a gift for my wife. And we'll just say she didn't like it. So regardless, it's a very large scarf that was probably not designed to leave that market. Otherwise, they would have been required to have some sort of an English, on the label as well. So you've got a very large size. I'll kind of scroll it across. It's only decorated in two corners. So you've got one corner that's blank, and then as I pull it across, you then get into the decoration. And then as you go down the other line, other edge, you get to another empty corner until you turn the corner again, and then you get the same design on the other side. I do not know if this is hand painted. I don't know enough about textiles to be able to tell. It is silk. That is the only English on the label. It does say it's 100% silk. So it's a silk scarf. It looks like brush strokes, but I have a feeling, based on the fact that I don't feel any texture difference, that it is a screen print onto the scarf. It is, let me pull up my tape measure so I can tell you exactly how big it is. It is, sorry, I should have done this before. It is 44 inches on one side. So again, we're talking a pretty big scarf. So then if you fold it into the triangle so that I can wear it. Okay, I'm like, this could be like a nun's habit. You've got a lot of fabric. So I would say this is probably more of a shawl. Okay, now I look like a rabbi. So you've got a pretty decent drape, that comes all the way down. So you can kind of see how far down this goes. Glad I wore pants today. So I think one point somebody said that was a stole length. But again, I'm learning. So again, if you've got any terms that I need to know. The question came in, is the edge rolled? That is a term that I do know. And I don't know the answer to that. So I'm just going to show. I've heard the term of it being rolled. Some of the ones I've sold before, I would say were rolled. This one does have a stitch, so it does feel like more like it has a hem. So I don't know if that still counts as a roll because it's stitched in the middle as opposed to just along the edge. So I'll give you as close to that as I can. So that is the 100% silk, Asian style, Asian designed scarf with label. It is available for $12, and you can have it for $12 by giving me number 60. So $12, number 60 for the large, oversized white and floral painted design scarf. All right. I announced that one. Went back and forth on the chat. I got myself confused. So the giraffe set number 61 went to Gabrielle White. So congratulations, Gabrielle. I hope you enjoy those, and those will be headed to Canada via Indiana, which is just a great setup you have. Also, let us know, Gabrielle. I heard that I think you had told me there were some discussions about an all Canada sale All Canada Resellers sale. So let me know if that's happening. I definitely want to be able to check it out, depending on who's want to know who's going to host it, so I can check that out. Okay, the next piece is a piece I've from a designer I've had before. This is a signed Georges Briard divided glass dish, but this one threw me for a little bit of a loop, and I'm going to do full disclosure. So this one, when I purchased it, as you typically do in a thrift store, it had quite a bit, in this particular case, which was surprising, it actually had quite a bit of tarnish, because this is silver decorated, not gold, which Georges Briard is primarily known for his gold. What threw me, though, is if you look on the back, there's gold. There's kind of like a gold underleaf to all of the silver, but the silver had tarnished. So I wanted to kind of shine it up a little bit so I could sell it on the sale. And we'll say I was a little aggressive. So if you look really closely, you can see I kind of started taking off on the ridge here in the middle. You can see I kind of took away some of the polish. So just be aware, abrasive cleaners should be used lightly. Once I realized I did that, I was able to clean the rest of it with the exact same cleaner, but just without as much elbow grease. And the rest of the pieces were completely fine. But as a result, I basically have now damaged an absolutely perfect dish. So I can't sell it for anywhere near what I would have sold it for. This was destined for Etsy, because these do sell for pretty decent money on Etsy, because he's a known name, and it's a very known mid-century modern look with those big leaves. And the fact that this was silver instead of gold made it less common. But I screwed it up. So you guys, if you are one of the opinion that damage just adds character, well, here's some character. So you can have it for only $8. So $8 for the Georges Briard divided glass dish by giving me number 5. Georges Briard, number 5, $8. All right. Got an actual planter for the air plant now. So I picked this baby up. Ain't it cute? So you've got a bear with a honey pot that has been glazed in an all over blue color. I don't know why the honey pot went blue, but they kept it simple. So there's a little bit of like deeper color. So there's some accents in more of an aqua or more of a blue color, where the rest of it's kind of more of an aqua color. It's not marked, but it does have the 2 bars on there, which, I just went out of my head. Jeffrey and Misty talk about it all the time. I want to say Royal Sebring, and that's not right, but that's common in a specific brand, and now I can't think of who it is. But regardless, he's just cute. He's in great condition. He's got no chips. He's got no cracks. There's not even any crazing on him. He looks great with a little air plant in there. But again, air plants are not included. But you can get the little bear and honey pot planter for $11 by giving me number 65. So $11.65 for the Blue Bear planter. All right, if you've been on my show before or been to my any of my videos, I've become known. I'm aiming really high. I've become known as having an issue, a obsession, a fetish for coasters. All right, truth hurts, but whatever. It actually doesn't hurt. I don't care. I'll own that. I love coasters, and every sale I've done since I did my first one, I've included coasters in the sales. So they're always a mixed bag. Sometimes they're like really elaborate porcelain ones. Sometimes they're fun ones. Sometimes they're paper. This time I found something that reminded me of my childhood, maybe getting into my teens. I would say this is like of that late 70s, probably 80s, because we've got this gold oak holder that has just the little dowel rods holding it together. There is a label to it, which shows it was made in Indonesia. So I'm not sure where Indonesia falls in the production line. It started with Japan, then you get to Taiwan, then Hong Kong, and then you start getting into like left and went to Sri Lanka and Malaysia. I don't know when wood went to Indonesia, but it is a set of 8 coasters, which is actually pretty rare. I very rarely come across 8 coasters as a set. So it'd be pretty mixed. If you've got a kind of a woodsy, backwoods, cabin type motif, and you just want some golden oak, Here's a great set of coasters for only $7. You can have them for $7 by giving me number 36. So 36, $7 for the coasters. As I mentioned, and as you've probably seen in some of the sales, again, porcelain is something I really like. I tend to go into more the decorative porcelain, but this one I didn't want to pass up because it's a name that I recognized. I've got another piece of this, different design, but another piece of this on my Etsy store. So when I saw this one, I wanted to pick it up because I think this is gorgeous. And it's a piece of cookware. So, and this has been used. You can see on the bottom, it is a casserole dish. It does not have a cover to it. It's not designed to have a cover to it. The edges are flared, so there's no place for a lid to lock onto it. So you just have this exceptionally elaborate design on this floral design on this porcelain baking dish. It's a Le Fawn design. It's French. The stamp is on the back. It shows the pan playing the flute, and it shows it is made in France. It is, to me, something you would put, like if you've got one of those display soffits above your kitchen, or even this becomes a tray to make a vignette in your kitchen. Like if you want to bake in it, that's fine. But considering it was baked in, the inside is perfect. So they knew how to clean, or they used a lot of Pam, but whatever. It's a great little piece. Well, it's not so little, it's a good size, but it's a great casserole dish, and it's only $9. So for made in France, for a French Le Fawn dish, the one I've got on Etsy is listed for a lot more. $9, and that'll give you for number 13. The Le Fawn casserole dish, $9 by giving me number 13. All right, the next item I thought was kind of fun. I had to do a little bit of digging, but I did know what these were. So I'm going to show you one, and I'm curious what who catches it first in the chat. But I've got an entire bag of these. And they've got a wood part on the front, a wood part in the back, and kind of a flexible aluminum piece in the middle. And I fell behind in the chat. So I'll people give their guesses on that. And Michelle at Mermaid Cove, I'd be happy to do anything I can to help you identify your coasters. Oh, Blue Flamingo is Lori C. Okay, I guess I did hear that. I bet you'd change names. So, you know, you're keeping us on our toes. So Lori C, I'm sorry, Blue Flamingo gets the Blue Bear Planter. Royal Copley, that's the one I couldn't remember. Not Royal Hager, Royal Copley. I typically can recognize Hager in general, sometimes Royal Hager, because Hager, for those who don't know, was made like 10 miles from my house. So I run into it a lot. But it's the Copley is that one that I don't know if they're the only ones that did it, but they're known for those 2 bars on the bottom, or sometimes there's 3. And I guess that's a distinction of them. I don't run into it that often, which is why I forgot about it. The Georges Briard dish went to Lynn Johnson. So congratulations, Lynn, for picking that up. The big white scarf went to Jenny X. So thanks, Jenny, for picking that up. So let me jump back over into the comments and see, did anyone come up with what those, what my little pieces were? So this is, not seeing the chat, but yes, it is a little, I won't even say the word, Nicole, but it is a shoe stretcher. So yeah, I don't think they're particularly rare, but what's nice about these is these are actually designed to be female shoe stretchers. So they're, you know, in a completely sexist era, they made these pastel colored shoe stretchers designed more for the high-heeled shoes with the smaller toes, where the men's would typically be made out of cedar. They would have been a little bit wider, and, you know, have a little bit more substance. These are really designed to have a pretty decent arch to them, because you kind of figure, look how long this is. So it is designed to kind of, I guess, with the high heel to flex with the heel. I'm not really sure. So we've got a pink pair. Right, without taking them all out of the bag. We've got an aqua color. I'll show you at least the colors out of the bag. We've got a blue color. We've got a green color, and this one actually has a floral design on the toe. Not all of them have designs on the toes. And then this is like the aqua color. So it's like, it's not quite as green as the other one. So we've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. My note fell off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Do we have a pirate in the house? Wants the loose one? Maybe I miscounted. So there's either 16 or there's 18, or there might be 17. So I want to say I counted it earlier and there was odd number 2. So let me do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Let me be creative. All right. Anyway, so you've got a bonus. You've got 8 pair plus a bonus in case you lose one. So they are available. They're not marked in any way. A couple of them do have the little decal painting on the front. It's just kind of a cool set to either be used or to kind of go into displays. But I'm selling them as a set. I didn't want to have to try and break them up individually. So as a set, you can have them for $25 by giving me number 59. $29 or $25, number 59 for this set of shoe stretchers. All right. This is an item that I picked up at the time. I wasn't sure how old it was. I didn't think it was like super old, but as I started researching it, I discovered that these are actually still being sold online. So we did not get into much age at all. I think I found them on Amazon. You can just go to town. So it is kind of a cool piece. I didn't find this exact one where it's the woman playing the guitar, but what this is manufactured using old, like just different, like those are Phillips head screws as the edge of the guitar. So you've got these wire, you've got ball bearings that make the woman's chest area. So it's just kind of a quirky thing. It's either a pen cup. I'm assuming it's a pen cup. But I threw an air plant in there, and that air plant I think looks really cool in this design. So I didn't pay that much for it, luckily, because you can buy new ones for like 20, 25 bucks. So I'm selling this one for $7. So $7 for the Mexican metal pen cup by giving me number 8. Number 8 for $7 for the pen cup. I almost covered this up, so let me pull this out really quick. So this is a kitchen piece. This is a piece I kind of got mad at myself afterwards because, again, I don't like to pick things up that have any damage. I just thought this was really cool. I would say this is probably going to the 70s, maybe 80s. It's just a plastic tray, but you can kind of, if you can read the different words on it. So you've got tuna, onions, rolls, cheese. So you got a cheese holder. Basically, you've got a crudité place. You've got a plate. So you've got a place to put crackers. You can maybe put dips on the side, and then a platform for, to put cheese or whatever. It has these bamboo handles on it, but it wasn't until I brought it home that I discovered one of the handles had a little bit of damage on it where part of the bamboo had split away. It's still still attached very well to the tray, so it's not going anywhere. It's not in perfect condition, and I don't tend to like things that aren't in perfect condition. So I took that into consideration when I marked it. So I'm only selling it for $6. So $6 for the crudité tray, and that happens to be number 6. $6, number 6 for the tray with the bamboo handles. All right. If you joined one of my sales, I can't remember what the theme it was, but I brought out my Trusty bargain bin. And the bargain bin comes out during my themed sales. And what I had done was a sale on Wade Whimsies as a grab bag, where you could get any individual Wade Whimsy for $1, but you just didn't know what you were going to get. And so I had picked up quite a few for that promotion. I actually sold out of all of them. I had to then buy more to finish fulfilling the orders. And when I bought the next batch, I had to pay a little bit more for it because I was in a little bit of a rush. But when I got them, I found that there were a couple pieces in there that actually had more value. So 2 of them I pulled out, and I'm now selling them here in this sale. So it is the Christmas pieces. So this is the Wade Whimsy Christmas tree and the Wade Whimsy snowman. They're in perfect condition. They are small. They're Wade Whimsy, so they're small, but they're part of that collection. But these I felt had a little bit more, or I knew had a little bit more value, but I'm still selling them here for less than they typically sell for, because you can get both of these now for $6. So both the snowman and the Christmas tree, $6. They weigh practically nothing, so it will cost nothing to ship these. $6 by giving me number 42. So number 42, $6 for the Christmas tree and the snowman. You get both. All right, this item, I will admit, comes to me as basically, I'll just be honest. I'm Trusty. This came to me as a return. I had sold this on Etsy. I do not offer returns on Etsy, but this particular individual is a good customer. And what had happened was I sold this silver shaker as an individual piece. It is hallmarked KO. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any research to know what the KO hallmark was for. It is silver plate because you can see some of the silver is torn off, is worn off on the lid, but the body actually has the hallmark. So I think part of the body might be silver, but the lid is some sort of an alloy. Regardless, I disclosed all of that. He purchased it. He purchased it for $35. I was happy to sell it. He then contacted me and said, well, the lid doesn't stay on. Now, to me, the lid is fine, but it doesn't screw on. It's literally just like a friction lid. So, you know, if you really went violent, like maybe you really were aggressive in your salt shaking, maybe you'd knock the lid off. But he didn't like the fact that, and he even admitted, he's like, clearly it's not like it was designed in a way, like it's designed this way. This is the way it's supposed to be. But I refunded it to him. He sent it back. And then I'm kind of like, well, I don't even know how to sell it now, because if I do it on Etsy, how do I explain that? Yeah, the lid does stay on, but certain people feel like it doesn't. So I'm like, you know what? Forget it. So I'm bringing it back, gave him his refund. I'm now offering it to you for way less than I sold it online, because if you want to use it as a shaker, you now know that you need to figure out a way to hold it on. But if you're going to use it just as a vignette or something decorative, which I'm sorry, is kind of what I thought, who would use this as a daily shaker? You can do it for $13. So $13 for a very cool hallmarked KO shaker, $13, and that is number 27. $13.27 for the hallmarked shaker. All right. I sold a pair of the giraffes earlier, and I completely forgot. I also had a set of giraffe coasters. So these are those sandstone coasters. So these were popular, like probably the 2000s, 90s, 2000s. They might still sell them now, but this is that heavyweight stone. It absorbs. I used to have a set like this because I've had almost every type of coaster. I used to have a set, and they do actually work really nicely. So if your glass has condensation, it absorbs into this without dripping over the table. So I have a pair of the giraffe coasters. They're identical in design, perfect condition, no chips, no cracks, nothing off the edges. They're only $4. So $4 for the pair of sandstone absorbed stone coasters, $4 by giving me number 10. Number 10 for the giraffe coasters. All right. Earlier sale I ended up selling a couple of pieces of ironstone that had damage, because I was really kind of testing the waters to see, okay, like some people may not care as much about damage. So I decided to sell it, but I sold it at a really low price. So I don't know how good of a test it was. But if you remember that sale, it was a set of copper luster tea leaf design from Alfred Minkin, England. So it's ironstone. And I now have another piece. This one does not have any damage. I plan on selling this online, and I'm just really running out of, I've got so many things that need to be listed that this doesn't, it's so small. It's one of these items that, you know what, for something like this live sale, it's super lightweight, it's super easy to ship, and I'm putting it in at a really good price. So this is a butter pat, a square butter pat. I also have round ones, but they'll be for another sale. So this is the square butter pat, an individual one. It is stamped with the ironstone and Alfred Macon on the back. It is stamped, and it is available for $5. So $5 for the English ironstone butter pat, $5 by giving me number 51. $5, number 51. All right, falling behind in the chat again. All right, so 65, no, did that one already. All right, number 10, the giraffe coasters went to Randy Heilman. Number 27, the KO Silver hallmarked shaker went to Sandy Fours Lilacs. Number 42, the Wade Whimsies went to Jeanette ALPN. I'm getting a message from Huckster Helper, so sometimes I wonder if she typed it right. So that's a name I don't recognize. So congratulations, Jeanette ALPN. And number 8, the Mexican player went to Brooke Lagan. Thanks for buying from us again, Brooke. And I got another side note from the Huckster Helper thanking me for not doing the shoe stretchers as a grab bag because she loves them so much. And I think the shoe stretchers went to Little Vintage Me 64. I've got an odd note, and I'm not sure what that says, so I need to clarify that. And she just answered no, and I don't know what. Oh, they guessed the item first. Okay, so the shoe stretchers I think did not sell. So those are still available unless I'm missing a note from the Huckster Helper. Okay, back to comments so I can see what we're doing. All right, the next item is a set of porcelain again. These are individual porcelain eggs I picked up at multiple times. What I found interesting is they're all slightly different. 2 of them are very similar. They are all signed from the Egg Lady, which is a thing. So she did an entire collection of porcelain eggs. So I originally found, I can't remember which one came first. It was one of these 2 because I originally found one and then I found another one, and they're the same size. And I would say a fairly similar design. They are designed, they have design going into the edges. Like they do have a pretty decent decoration all the way around. And then they both have the Egg Lady signature and stamp down at the base. And then this one is slightly bigger and has slightly darker coloring. So the others are a lot more pastel-y. This one, you can see there's like more of that burnt orange going into the background colors. So they're just a really nice set. I don't think they're necessarily designed to be Easter eggs from what I could tell, that they're literally just designed to be little objet d'art for your curio cabinet, whatever, that, if you want to put them in a basket, you want to put them individually, they do have that flattened base. So you can actually set these so they're not rolling around. But they're just 3 sets of porcelain eggs from the Egg Lady. And you can have the whole set of 3 for only $13. $13 for the Egg Lady eggs by giving me number 4. Number 4, $13 for the Egg Lady eggs. All right. Going from light porcelain to heavy metal. So this one is trench art. So this is an old, in theory, this is an old shell casing that was then manufactured into a vase. It was done in a very crude form. They just made a base for it and welded that in and then just flared the top. That white is just to hold the air plant in place. Actually, I just saw an interview on somebody talking about trench art, that these were not necessarily made by soldiers in the trenches, that they were made, away from the battlefields, really as a fundraiser to make money. So it's just a hammered brass, I'm assuming. Although the discoloration on the bottom makes me indicate it's copper, but the rest of this did not discolor at all. This has not been polished, so maybe it is copper. It's just, it must have some sort of a lacquer to it that is keeping it from oxidizing, but the bottom did oxidize. So you've got that green from the copper. So you've got a trench art made vase for $8. $8 for the vase. For 35, give me number 35. $8, number 35 for the trench art. All right, since we did so well with the shoe stretcher, try to do something that is less suggestive, because this was something that when I bought it, none of us knew what it was. So I bought it anyway, because I thought it was kind of cool, because initially I bought it, first I'll show it to you this way. Initially I bought this assuming it was like a menu holder or a card holder, like a place card holder for formal, for formal dining, that it's just, there's a slot in the top and it would just, it'd hold a card. Well, there's this weird thing on the bottom. There's this weird piece of plastic that it flexes and there's a channel so it can slide in and out. And I'm like, well, what is that? And the person selling it said she had no idea what it was either. So I got it for a decent price because I just picked it up thinking, well, it's kind of cool. So I looked it up. Haussmann was the name on the bottom. It's made in West Germany, so it had some age to it. It's decorated on both the front and the back. It's very attractively designed. But I'm like, well, what is it? So I'm curious if anyone else knows what that is while I look into the chat to see what we have sold. So I fell behind again. So number 35 was the trench art went to Brooke Lagan, and the egg lady eggs went to number 4, went to Lynn Johnson. So, and we had the guess is correct. It is a toothpaste squeezer. So it's unfortunately missing a piece. So what's supposed to have is there's supposed to be another, like a rod that has a twisting piece on it that you would it has a slot. The tube has a slot. You line it up, you put the toothpaste tube into it, and then as you twist it, that piece in the bottom, the reason it flexes is that as you crank the bottom of the toothpaste, it obviously pushes the toothpaste out, but it gives a place for the roll of the toothpaste to curl up. All right, I don't have that piece, so clearly I can't be used as a toothpaste holder right now, but it's still a cool decorative item. It's a conversation starter, and you can still use it as a place card holder, which is what I originally was buying it to sell it as. So regardless of what you want to do with it, you kind of have the cool 2/3 of a toothpaste tube squeezer, or you just have a decorative card holder, and you can have it for $5. So $5 for the toothpaste squeezer, and it's number 23. $5, number 23 for the West German card holder / toothpaste squeezer. All right. Another item that I did some research on, and I knew it wasn't old when I bought it, but it was kind of cute. And I got, I won't say grief, but I got a lot of comments from people when I did my Dog Days of Summer sale. Why didn't I have any cats? So I do look for cats, and I found this little plate that I thought was kind of cute. It is stamped on the back that it's Jewel, made in Japan, but that stamp didn't look particularly old to me, so it just happens to be made in Japan, but I didn't think it was vintage, but it kind of looks like a Halloween-y cat. Now I thought it was kind of cool, and got it at a good price. So I'm going to pass it on as a good price, but I did do a little bit of digging. Turns out it is Maya porcelain, M-I-Y-A. So it is a thing. It is the Cat Eye series. They did several of these, and it is still available. So it's another piece that, even though I didn't know it, it is still available. I found it both on Amazon and on Wayfair. So you can get them for anywhere from $8 to $12 a piece, and in some cases plus shipping. But in this case, you can get it here for $4. So $4 for the Maya porcelain cat eye plate, $4 by giving me number 20. Number 20 for the cat eyes, number 20, $4. All right, I mentioned it earlier, and now it has arrived. If you did not watch the very first deep dive I ever did, was with Katie from Vintage and Vinyl, who at one point was on the chat this evening, and she did a deep dive with me talking about her collection of typewriter ribbon tins. So when I was in the wild, I found my first tall tin. I've only found typewriter ribbon tins a couple of times, and each time I bug Katie and ask her about them. So this one I knew from the deep dive that this one was was older than the hockey puck size that is a little bit more common, because until they standardized around I believe it was 1930, they standardized into the shorter tin. They had this as a 1.5 inch tall tin. So this company has been around and was doing them earlier. But this style, I looked at some of the ones that have sold in the past. The fact of the way this is inked on the top, saying that it's 1.5 inches, it's elk, and then it's black and red. It actually says all of that. That probably puts this closer to the teens or 20s, as opposed to the ones that are older, don't have that stamping on it. So it's still old. I mean, we're still looking at a 100-year-old tin. So this is, you could have your very own Miller line. The Miller line is super fine. And this ribbon was manufactured in Aurora, Illinois, for Smith, what did it say? Miller Bryant Pierce for Smith Corona. And I'm in North Aurora, so this was right next door. This is in the city of Aurora. So it's decorated on all four sides. It's in pretty good condition. There's really not a lot of oxidation. There's a little bit around the edge. It does say, you can see right there at the bottom, it says made in the USA, but I can't find the manufacturer of the tin. It probably was at the top and there's a little bit of corrosion that's lost or some wear that's lost along those edges. But in general, pretty good shape. And you can have it for $12. $12 for your very own 1.5 inch tall ribbon tin. $12 by giving me number 28. It's $12 for the ribbon tin. All right, since we have Dawn the dog lady, I'm going to guess that this is a dachshund, but it's a piece that I'm selling as a set because I purchased it as a set. So this is a really cute carved wooden shelf. As you can see at the top, the carving has two dogs kind of leaning against each other. And then you've got the little brace holding up the shelf itself. The shelf, it does slide into the back, so it actually does have some support to it. And then it's carved down at the bottom. Once upon a time, you can see there's a mark there. I'm assuming there was a label of some sort, but there's no markings to it now. And then what's on it is what I'm thinking is a dachshund. Now, what I checked, and you can kind of see if you look really closely, you can see his back feet. He's just held on with some of that rubbery adhesive-y putty type stuff. He came off and there were no marks to the top. So if you don't want this dog on this shelf, you don't have to. He comes off very easily. I'm selling it as a set, again, because I purchased it as a set, but also because I liked the fact that he was low enough that you could still see these dogs. So anything you put on there that was lower, it's a sweet piece. I really don't know the age because there's no marks to it. I don't think it's hand carved. I think that those are machine made. But I do think there is some age to it. And there's definitely some age to that dachshund. The dachshund himself, from what I could tell, was not marked, but I would say he's a Japan piece. But you get a whole kit and poodle for $15. So $15 for the shelf and the dachshund by giving me number 26. Number 26, $15 for the dog on shelf. All right. If you joined the jewelry sale a couple weeks ago, I had a series of trinket boxes. This is a box that I had missed in that sale, so I'm including it here. It's just a small porcelain trinket box. I looked for that. As much as Google Lens is great, I could not find that logo. I would say it is European because it has the crown at the top. Most American companies don't put crowns on their porcelain, but I can't tell you who that is. So I'm just selling it as an attractive vintage porcelain box. So it's a porcelain box. It's got the blue floral design on it. Again, no chips, no cracks, just a shallow jewelry box, and it's got a design that goes all the way around the edge. So it's a very well done piece. It's available for only $6. $6 for the porcelain box by giving me number 40. $6, number 40 for the porcelain box. All right, see what I fell behind in the sale. So looks like 26, the wood dog with shelf went. Dawn Schonkweiler raced to get the dachshund shelf unit. So she picks up number 26, the wood dog shelf with the dog. Number 28, the ribbon tin went to Melody Harris. Congratulations, Melody. Number 20, the jewel cat plate, the cat eyes went to Michelle at Mermaid Cove. And number 23, the toothpaste tube squeezer went to Jenny X. So congratulations to all of you. And number 40, the porcelain box went to Lynn Johnson. So congratulations for all of those. All right, I'm going to embarrass myself and I'm going to ask the Hive Mind to help me out. And I skipped a note. So Melody Harris purchased number 28, and that had been 28 had been the ribbon tin. Oh, she bought it and she's going to have it. She's going to send it to Katie. Oh, that's very nice of you, Melody. So congratulations, Katie. You'll pick that up. All right. So this is where everyone gets to educate me again, because I meant to look this up before the sale started. And to be perfectly honest, I ran out of time because this is a piece that the entire time when I picked it up, I bought it, I listed it to sell here, everything, or set it to the side to sell here. It was not until I went to enter the name into the spreadsheets that we use to keep track of the sales, I realized this is not Becky Thatcher. It's Becky Sharp. Who's Becky Sharp? I have no idea. I want to say it's like, to me, that's the era of Becky Thatcher. Like, this is a Huckleberry Finn. I almost said Huckleberry Hound. It's a Huckleberry Finn, but Becky Sharp, that's not her name. So I don't know who Becky Sharp is. But I've got a Lefton figurine that thought that Becky Sharp was important enough that they made a figurine for her. So she's in great condition. She's got the little flowers off to the side in great condition. She got her hair, ponytail, everything, no damage. She is in a great piece. She is available. Let's see, in the Lefton signature, or the Lefton label is the their second generation one. So it's the one from 1953 to 1971. It's the registered trademark. So that is their, again, 1953 to 1971. So this is an earlier piece, again, marked Japan. You can have her for $7. Has anyone figured out who she is yet? So $7 by giving me number 38. 38, $7, you get your Becky Sharp figurine. All right, another piece that was on my promotion or preview is, again, getting into some items that I don't typically carry. This is our Norita double vanity for loose powder and rouge cake. This is just the box. Unfortunately, I do not have anything to go in it. So this is, again, this is really just designed. It is a velvet lined box. It's a nice little box, but it is designed just to be, a gift item or for a display item. So you've got the new Norita vanity on the back. You've got the, the Marie Antoinette, the 18th century design, but probably looking 30s, 40s, maybe getting into the 50s, but I could not find this. I found a couple with the box with the contents, but I never figured out exactly when it was released. But you can have the little vanity box for $5. So the little makeup box, $5 by giving me number 12. $5, number 12 for the little loose powder box. All right. This was a fun item I picked up. It almost went into the vintage kitchen sale that I'm going to do next week, but I'm getting too many items for that sale. So I decided to move this into this sale because it's not technically kitchen. It's literally a rooster organizer. So you've got this metal organizer that hangs on the wall. You've got, these little flexible pieces of aluminum, metal, tin that are marked that say letters, bills, miscellaneous, and then a place to hang the keys. There's nothing on the back that's not marked. Maker's not marked. I would say this is probably from the 70s. That it's just, but I would say this is cool in just about any decor. So you've got the rooster organizer. It's available for $12 by giving me number 21. $12 for the rooster organizer. All right, gonna run out of time. All right, the next item I picked up is, I'm also going to be doing a vintage children's sale. I'm not selling children, although that's an idea. No, that's not an idea. No, don't get me wrong. So I am going to be doing toys, things like that. And this almost went into that one, but I just thought you guys might enjoy, mixing things up a little bit. This is a fabric book, from what I can tell, from the 20s or 30s. It says at the bottom that it was manufactured by Junior Publishing Company in New York. It was printed in Bavaria, and Bavaria became part of Germany after World War I. So the fact that it just says Bavaria might mean it's even prior to World War I. But I went through it to try and figure it out. And what I discovered, things that I thought would help me, totally blew my mind, because inside are like little pictures, just like a little story. So one of the pictures was like, oh, there's a box of matches. Okay, well, those are the matches that the automatic strike matches. Oh, okay, those were probably in the like 20s, 30s. Let's see. No, those were manufactured and invented in 1826. Okay, this isn't from the 1800s, so that didn't help me. Then there's another one for balloons. And I'm like, okay, well, balloons, those must have been like the 40s. Like, that must be later. No, latex balloons were invented in 1847. However, I did find a note that said they became popularly distributed in the 30s. And then the one that I thought was probably more indicative of anything is both what they're wearing, as well as there's something inside that shows just their shoe. And there's like the old-fashioned sewing machine, but there's a shoe. So that style of shoe, again, was popular in the 20s and 30s. So I think this is from the 20s and 30s, but it does say printed in Bavaria. So we're in that era. It's just a very cool, fabric made book. It's got the scalloped edge. It's stitched along the spine. It's just got some great colors, some great graphics. And I just think it's just super sweet. I did pay up for it because I thought it was pretty unique. I will just say I can't find another one like it. That's why I could not figure out when it was manufactured, because literally I could not find any others. I found some listed in Germany that were by the same company, even though the company says New York. There were some listed there, but I never found the Jolly book. I never found this original one. So I just had to base it on what I paid for it. So I'm selling it for $16. So $16 for the fabric Jolly book by giving me number 25. $16, number 25 for the little 20s/30s fabric book. Another book, which we're going a little bit after that, but we can date it slightly better, is a Eat the Right Foods, Beat the Heat, and Help Beat the Axis. So we've got World War II political literature. So this literally is an entire cookbook / self-help book about how to deal with cooking and preparing meals for your family during the summer when it's really hot outside, that you don't need to use a lot of electricity, or you don't need a lot of special tools to preserve your food. So it's got some very cool graphics in here. Eat salt and sugar candies. I don't know why you would need to do that. Avoid alcohol. What communist literature? What is this? So it's a very cool pamphlet with pretty much all of the design. It was basically printed with black ink and red ink. So it's black and red throughout the whole thing, but it's got some images of manufacturing that was being done during those times. And then it's on the back as the ad for Victory, to buy Victory bonds. So I just think this is a super cool piece, and I got it for a decent price. So I'm going to pass it on as a decent price. So you can have it for $8. So $8 for the Eat the Right Foods and Beat the Axis is $8. That gives me number 15. $8, number 15 for the World War II literature book. I don't want to run out of time before I go through some of the things I promoted in my Instagram page. So I've got another item that I put on Instagram, a real planter. And ironically, it's such a big planter, I didn't have an air plant big enough to go into it. The way this one was done, they kind of glued felt into the back. So I don't know if they were using this more as more of a dresser valet or something. Maybe they were putting their wallet or keys or glasses or something in the back, as opposed to a planter. Because clearly with the felt, you wouldn't be putting dirt back there. It's a great piece. It is signed. It does have the original label. It's a Relpo piece made in Japan. It is in amazingly good condition. It does have the felt that's glued, but you can see it's been pulled down a little bit. It's easy to remove that if you want to, or at least trim it back. But it's designed with a flat back, so it's designed to go against a wall. So it's only designed on the front, but you have the two horses. So again, whether that's a mother and a daughter, mother and a foal, whatever, they're in great condition. All their ears are still there, not chipped, no cracks, no crazing. It's a great piece. And you can have this great piece for $18 for the Relpo planter by giving me number 16. $18 for number 16 for the Relpo horse planter. All right. This item I think I've actually had before, so I felt I had to get it again. So this is a little bowling ball that appears to be an ashtray. Now I say it appears to be an ashtray because there's no there's no lip or anything to rest your cigarette there. It's literally just the hole. So I think it's a little small to be like a scrub brush holder. Like sometimes they made those to put the little scrub brush in at the sink, and then you would actually you would have the bowling ball be turned backwards. So I'm not 100% sure what it's for, but I believe it's an ashtray, but it's just a cool piece. It's got that drip glaze to it. It has the paper label on it that says it's a MAFCO product in Japan. So you've got, it's a very nice label piece, no chips, no cracks, and I don't even see any crazing. You can have it for $5, $5 for the little bowling ball, and he is number 49. Number 49, $5 for the little bowling ball. All right. Another kids item I got. I don't know why, but you know, sometimes I can identify cute. I don't think kids are cute, but I can identify them. This was just something that I picked up because I thought it was kind of cool. And I thought this would be something fun to sell in a live sale. I really wouldn't put this onto Etsy. And then after I bought it, I realized it's not exactly what I thought it was, but it's a set of children's brushes and combs. But I say set because it was sold to me as a set, but these two match. So you can see that they've got the little pink polka dots on the back. So it's clearly a girl's set, that these two are designed to go together. This is another brush. And while the backing is the same color, it doesn't have the polka dots. So I don't think that this is from the same set. I believe it could be from the same era. And the fact that they're two different shapes mean that it is kind of nice to have as a set. Like, I don't know if you need both brushes. And I don't even know if these are designed for dolls or if these would be designed for actual kids' hair, but I do think they'd be designed for kids. So it's just a cool set. So it's whether it's a real set or a marriage, you get both brushes and the comb. You get them all three pieces for $11. So $11 for the kids' vanity set by giving me number 29. Number 29 for $11 for the three pieces of the vanity. All right, I had another ashtray I'll bring out because this one I thought looked kind of cool with an air plant in it. It is an old-fashioned coal stove that is clearly an ashtray because this one does have the little lip that's supposed to hold the cigarette. Now, to me, there was a little bit of a slant to it. I think your cigarette runs the risk of disappearing into the hole. But regardless, you can put a very cool air plant in there, and looks like you've got a monster attacking your stove. But it's one of those probably 50s with that the pink floral design. It is stamped just Japan as opposed to made in Japan, so that makes it maybe a little bit older. Or no, which way does it go? George just talked about this, and I can't remember now which way he said, if the made in Japan is older or the Japan is older. But regardless, it's just a cute little piece, perfect condition, no chips, no cracks. If you have a smoking cigarette, the smoke comes out the pipe here, out the little pipe hole there. So, and it's only $4. So $4 for the little stove porcelain ashtray / air plant holder for number 55. $4, number 55 for the ashtray. And my goodness, what's going on in the chat? Amelia is sending me all kinds of stuff. All right. The question was, were the brushes made of celluloid? To be perfectly honest, I don't know how to tell. I would say that they're plastic. And I apologize, I didn't see that question earlier, but I've seen handled celluloid before, and it doesn't feel like that. Celluloid, in my experience, is more brittle. This is a little bit harder. I think it's probably more from the 50s that it's more of a plastic. And I'm supposed to put an air plant in the bowling ball. Let's see. I got the air plant in the bowling ball. Or we could do the long air plant. Okay, that one appears to have taken root. I can't get it out. So we've got myriad air plants to be able to put in there. All right, number 16, the horse planter went to Randy Heilman. Number 15, the Beat the Axis pamphlet went to Mid-Century Wasted. And I apologize, I didn't see the question that came from the book. I do not believe it mentioned rations. I apologize, I didn't see that before I asked for the bid price. There was something. There's talking about the light meals, so talk about some of the food itself, but nothing about your rations or what you would actually be able to get. So sorry about that I missed that question. Number 25 was the Jolly Fabric book that went to Vintage Roots Collection. So congratulations. 21, the Rooster Organizer went to Barb J.M. And number 12, number 12, the Norita Makeup Box went to Melody Harris. And number 38, the Becky Sharp figure went to Lynn Johnson. And I think that got me caught up. Sorry, I was falling behind. And it's 9 o'clock. I still have some items here. I always want to cap it at 2 hours, but if you want to stick with me, I'll go ahead and finish because I do have a couple really cool items. But if you want to move on and watch Nicole at Nesting Havens, you want to catch up on her videos, I would totally understand. Because unlike, sorry, Michelle at Comfy Cozy Living, I'm not giving a marathon sale. Like I still have to pack all this stuff. But I've been chatty tonight, and I was showing too many clothes, so I didn't get through as many as I thought I should in 2 hours. So we'll try and go through a handful of others and see if all of you disconnect. I'll know to stop talking. This is just kind of a cool little piece that I really didn't know what to do with it. I almost didn't buy it, but it has the key on it to actually make this a functioning grandfather clock. Unfortunately, one of the arms, one of the hands is missing from the face of the clock. So that's why I almost didn't buy it. But I don't know. I don't think anyone's going to necessarily use this as a functional clock. It does say made in Germany. It has a very cool folk artsy, aesthetic. It is all solid wood, and it has the little metal chains hanging down to it. It's just kind of a cool piece. And so I got it at a good price. So I'm like, you know what? I'll send it on to you guys. If anybody wants it, you can have it for $5. So $5 for the little wooden grandfather clock by giving me number one, $5 for the little clock. I think some of the people who like textiles are still on. So I had one more. This is a handkerchief. I think this is similar to one that Fatbird Finds had on their channel. It's extremely sheer. So you can kind of see, like, from a functional standpoint, I don't think anyone's blowing their nose in this thing. So it's a decorative handkerchief. What I thought was really cool about it was that scalloped edge. So this one I do not believe is a rolled edge, because this one is machine. It's got a surged edge. So this one, they've actually stitched the edge together, which you'd almost need to do, because there'd be no way you'd be able to do bias tape or anything to be able to make those cuts and make those curves to hem that. So this is a later produced piece, definitely machine edged, probably 60s. According to my deep dive for vintage clothing, that it was in the 50s that the handkerchiefs were square. But I don't think, I guess this is large enough to tie it around your neck. So this might be a 50s piece, because she said it was the 60s was when the scarf started going rectangular. So the fact that it's square, it's late enough that it needs to be at least in the 50s post-war. That maybe it is the 50s because it is square, and you could do you could absolutely do the Rizzo thing and have you wouldn't be the pink lady. You'd be what color is this? Chartreuse lady? Sage green lady? So anyway, so you've got the little handkerchief. It's available at $6. So $6 for the little scalloped edged handkerchief by giving me number 41. Number 41, $6 for the handkerchief. All right. This was an item that I initially had in my antique store in Rockford before I moved out. And then when I moved into my new location, they're a little bit more specific on what I'm allowed to sell. And this ended up being something they didn't want me to sell. So I'm selling it here. So this is a set of little melamine bowls. There's a complete set of 4 and then 2 bonus pieces. So you've got 2 of the Raggedy Ann and Andy. So you've got the Raggedy Ann and Andy on the swing. You've got the Raggedy Ann and Andy basically performing surgery on another doll, which just creeps the heck out of me. You've got, that's not Peter Rabbit, but I don't know if that is supposed to be a famous rabbit, but you've got a rabbit eating lettuce. So I'm not sure if that's from a specific story. I didn't recognize it, but it's as part of the set. It's all been designed by at the same time. And then you've got the wolf and the 3 pigs. The other 2 bowls, which I'm just including in the set, are another of the surgery bowls, and then also another one of the rabbit. But then you can tell there's a lot of staining on this one. So these 2 are not as good of condition. So basically I'm selling you the set of 4. You're getting these 2 for free because I'm selling all 6 of them. I'm only selling for $6. So $6 for the entire set of 6 bowls, $6 by giving me number 47. $6, number 47. All right. Number 21, the roost. No, I did that one. I forgot to scroll. All right. Number 41, the green handkerchief went to Jenny X. Number 1, the German wooden grandfather clock went to Reclaim Treasures by Mary. So congratulations, Mary. Thanks for joining in. Mary does her sales on Sunday, I think. Monday? I don't remember. Tell everyone when your sales are, because I don't remember. And I forgot to print out the new calendar. 47, the Raggedy Ann and Andy doll, Raggedy Ann plates with the others went to Diane Caroline. So I recognize that name. So thank you for purchasing from us again, Diane. And did I say 55? The stove ashtray went to Barb JM. I think I might have said that already. Okay. So that gets me caught up onto those. Let's see, handful of other pieces. This was another new one that I'm gonna list it here. It is, I will admit, it is more expensive than I would typically sell, but I think it's cool enough that you guys might be interested. And I'm still trying to be realistic. So what this is the glass bud vase. Has a poem or has a phrase on it. It says, "Chance cannot change my love, nor time impair." So it is engraved with that phrase. But if you look at the bottom, this is not considered a controlled bubble. It's considered a suspended bubble. So I discovered that as I was researching this vase. And the reason I was able to research it and come up with a definition as specific as that is because on the bottom, it is actually signed, and it is a signed piece of Steuben glass. So anybody that knows glass probably knows the Steuben name and knows that this is actually really heavy. And so this Steuben vase was designed in 1949. I cannot say that that's when this was manufactured, but this design was designed by David Hills, who worked for Steuben. And that is when he started doing this suspended bubble design. So this is all solid glass, solid crystal down at the bottom, and then it flares out. Any piece of Steuben has value. The reason I'm sharing it here, because I tried the trick of using Pepsodent, and unfortunately, there's still some cloudiness in the glass. I do not have a brush that is the size to be able to get down into that to really be able to clean it out. So what I cannot guarantee, even though if you look really closely, you can see there's some spaces where I used a bottle brush and I was able to get down in there. There are some places that show that the bottle brush did clean some of it off. I can't swear that it's all going to come off. So it's an attractive piece. If you were to display it with a colored liquid, you would never know. If you put anything in it, you would never know. But to sell it on Etsy, where I will be honest, anybody can look this up, these sell for good money. I would have a hard time describing that. And I don't want to put a bad taste in anyone's mouth, to try and get high dollars in Etsy and hope that it comes clean. I'm a huckster, but again, I'm trusty. So I basically took that into consideration. If you have the tricks to be able to clean that out, or more particularly the tools to be able to clean that out with the right rag, you will be able to get a very good deal on this, because I'm selling a piece of Steuben glass for $30. So $30 for this David Hill designed glass suspended bubble, $30 by giving me number 62. So 62, $30 for the suspended bubble vase. Now, again, that goes into a much higher level than I typically do. So we're going to go into a more traditional item that I thought was kind of fun. I couldn't tell how much age this has. So this is another case where these may not be particularly old, but it's the benefit of this not being Etsy. We can sell whatever we want on this. It is an olive pit set. So you have a little tray for your olives. You then have a bowl to put the pits in. And then you've got a little place to hold the toothpicks. And then it comes with 2 little forks. So I guess it's like it's like date night. You could eat olives on your date. So it's just kind of cool. It's got all this is a match set. It is pottery. You've got the unglazed terracotta pottery. It's not stamped, not marked. Again, I don't know the age of this. It's just a cool piece. and I think it would look great. It doesn't even match the decor. I mean, it's a functional piece, but it does kind of look kind of cool too. You could shove an air plant in there. You know, let's see. There we go. Look at that. It looks like a cactus in a little Southwest vignette. So we've got the little olive pit tray. You can have it for $7. $7 for the 2 forks plus the tray, and the little bottle things are actually, the little bottle things are attached. Like it is all fired together. So those are not separate. It's just the forks that are separate. So it's $7, and you can have it by giving me number 18. Number 18 for $7. And that's the olive set. All right. We see that Reclaim Treasures by Mary is on Sundays at 4 p.m. So definitely check out her sale. I've got some great stuff from her before. She always has really good prices. And that's pretty much, I would say, the same for most of the sales out there. We recognize, you know, you guys are doing us a favor. We're not listing on Etsy. We're not paying fees. We still have to pay PayPal, but, you know, we try and pass on as good of prices as we can. So, and that's one of the reasons I personally don't do auctions. You know, I want to give a good price that I think people will like, and it hopefully makes it goes faster. So we've got number 62. The Steuben went to the Niche Lady. I'm glad you're taking that. I love your videos. If anyone doesn't follow the Niche Lady, definitely take a look at her videos. She does great shop with me videos, which I'll be honest aren't always my favorite. But what she then does is then she kind of goes into a little mini deep dive to talk about, well, why she bought it? Why is this one not what she bought? And give some history. So she's new to me. I've just found her like within the last couple of weeks, and I really like her channel. So I don't know your real name, sorry. But congratulations on picking up the piece of Steuben. And if you know the tricks to clean that out, Mossstone Story Kelly, another great channel, is suggesting vinegar. I did not try that. I thought Pepsodent was going to work. It didn't, sorry. And then Vintage Roots Collection is also having their first sale on Sunday. So if you didn't see that in the chat, watch for that as well. All right. Only a couple more items because then I need to finish up and start packing some of this stuff. This is another item from the estate sale. I want to make sure I included this one. This is an odd little set of rulers. And these rulers just, I think, have some pretty cool graphics to them. So you've got the wood ruler. This one has... No, it does not have the metal trim to it. This one has the metal trim to it. This one I thought was awesome because look at what that is. This is a piece of wood from a company that did wood inlay, and it's all of the different types of wood that they have available when you purchase from their products. Unfortunately, it itself doesn't have any advertising on it. It's just the different types of wood, but I love that. So, you know, anyone who's like, I'm not really into furniture, but if you're really into furniture, you could like carry this with you. Like, oh no, that's cherry. Oh no, wait a minute, that's cedar. You know, this is just a cool little ruler. And then the last one is like a traditional advertising piece. So we got Wonder Bread. So again, for those who are really into the advertising pieces, you've got the big Wonder Bread ad on the front, and then on the back you've got Wonder Bread helps build strong bodies 12 ways. So you've got the 3 rulers are available for $12. $12 for the 3 rulers by giving me number 43. Number 43, $12. All right, and the last item is a piece of aluminum. This last graced the set of Jekyll and Hyde, the musical, where I was props master. I also played a priest. I thought the clothes were going to burst into flames, but whatever. This is a signed piece of Nambe. So it's a very heavy grade of aluminum. It is aluminum, it's not silver. It is a cool shape. It's basically circular, but then it has this cutoff at the top. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about Nambe. I picked it up because it looked cool. This was on the laboratory bench of Dr. Jekyll. So this just looked cool on stage. But I did know the Nambe name, and it is a thing. I just don't know exactly how long it produced. To me, that's kind of that mid-century modern, like that swish. I don't know if they were producing these back then. This could be something from the 80s or 90s for all I know. But it's a very cool piece. There's definitely some patina to it, which is, in my opinion, in this particular case, in my opinion, it does add to the character. You can pick it up for $11. So $11 for the Nambe silver Nambe aluminum dish, $11, number 30. All right. So I will watch for the final notes to come in on the chat. It looks like number 43 was the three rulers that went to Jeanette ALPN. And the wood coasters were $7 was the question that came out on that. And then number 36. Number 36 or number 30? Oh, okay. 36, the wood coasters go to Jenny X. So congratulations on that. Number 30 was the Nambe aluminum, which is why I was thrown by the numbers. So yeah, 36 was the coasters. So thank you, Jenny X, for picking up the coasters. So I will stop now. I can't believe I ran this long. My deep dive ran long. I'm just chatty Chatterson, so I apologize. But I hope you all had fun. You know, if you've gotten this far and you're not a subscriber, really would appreciate you subscribing. I'll try and take a peek while I'm talking to see where I ended up. So I think when I started, I was at 881, went up to 887. So you know what? I'll take it. I appreciate, even if you're not a subscriber, appreciate you being here. If you purchase something tonight, make sure you send me an email to the email that's running across the bottom of the screen. Again, I will do my best to have all invoices out by the end of the night on Saturday. So if you don't have something by Sunday morning, poke me. But please, particularly if you've never bought from me before, if you've bought from me, it's not the end of the world if you don't contact me. But I'll be honest, this sale, it was a little overwhelming because the Huckster helper wasn't here with me. So I can tell right now, I'm a little horrified. Most of the tags have fallen off the items. So I have a cheat sheet that'll hopefully catch all of that. But if you could send me an email, even if you have bought from me before, and just remind me what you bought, I'd appreciate it. I probably will be okay because I do rewatch the video. So I'll probably rewatch it. But to catch all that. But if you know, send me an email. Really appreciate it. If you're liking these live sales, again, they're everywhere. Take advantage of them. My next one will be a themed one, which means it will be the return of the Trusty's bargain bin. So I will have $2 items in the bargain bin in the sale next week, and that sale will be vintage kitchen. So be on the lookout for that. And then I've got a couple other themed sales already planned. One themed sale, another themed, as I mentioned, will be toys and games and kids stuff. So, I've got a couple of those planned, and I've got my joint sale has now come together. So my joint sale will be the third Thursday in August, which I believe is August 20th. And those, the three other sellers on there will be Fatbird Finds, Vintage Vinny, and the Vintage Carriage House. Which she originally was invited, so this would be her first sale. But if you watch her channel, she may pop up with a sale or two beforehand because mine's not till the 20th. So it may be her first sale, it may not be her first sale, but regardless, it'll be the four of us. That'll be the sale on the 20th. So we've got those. And then check out the rest of my channel. Check out Nicole's Nesting Haven. Check out her Thriftmas in July playlist. You can check out my playlist for deep dives. I've got the next deep dive is actually Kelly from Moss Stone Story Vintage. She will be the second Sunday in August, and she will be doing little golden books. So definitely want to check that out. And then 2 weeks after that will be a deep dive on swizzle sticks. So I'm trying to keep them fun, and I'll throw out some other videos as I go. So anyway, thanks again for joining me. Thank you for sticking around, particularly since I ran so long. Really, really it humbles me that so many people stick around for these. And I do read all the comments, and I do appreciate the positive comments, not the negative ones so much, but luckily those are relatively rare. So appreciate everyone joining me. Appreciate you giving me your time. Appreciate you putting your trust into Trusty Huckster. Have a good night. Bye-bye.